In the backdrop of 26/11 terrorist attack on Mumbai in 2008 that shook entire nation, a man named Sachin Tendulkar, son of Mumbai and India, scored a magical Test 100 versus England, transforming an unlikely win of chasing 387 into reality to soothe the nation that was deeply anguished and sad with this coward attack. The England national cricket team arrived India in November 2008 for 7-match ODI series and 2-match Test series. Team India was leading ODI series by 5-0 after 5th match being played at Cuttack, Odisha on 26 November 2008. But that day itself, vibrant Indian city Mumbai was rocked by terrorist attack and fell prey to Islamist extremism that left the city reeling. The entire nation was sent into shock as many people in Mumbai lost their kith and kin. From the time that the first TV pictures of Mumbai atrocities were seen and England cricketers then staying in Bhubaneswar looked in disbelief at rolling news footages of fires, gunfights, explosions and bloodied bodies being pulled from the Taj Mahal Hotel where they stayed only a fortnight earlier to play the ODI. The second touring party flew home without playing the last 2 matches because of safety fears. When England left Bhubaneswar in November 2008 on 28th, several prominent players, most notably Andrew Flintoff and Steve Hutchinson, were in no mood to return. The decision to fly home to friends and family seemed designed to deepen that reluctance, but the ECB security analysis was swift. India's response to their colossal demands was immediate, and cricket's common purpose had never been more impressive. The 2 test locations were Ahmedabad and Mumbai. Not just the second test in Mumbai, but the first test in Ahmedabad location was switched while 3-day warm-up camp in Vadodara was cancelled. The new venues of Chennai and Mohali were chosen because the English Cricket Board had confidence that the Indian board could deliver their promise in those regions. N. Srinivasan, the then BCCI secretary, was also president of Tamil Nadu Cricket Association, and I.S. Bindra, one of the most influential figures in board history, was the Punjab president. The commitment with which the authorities delivered the ECB security demands, which cool analysis might have judged excessive, encapsulated cricket importance in India's social fabric. Kevin Pietersen at that stage cut an impressive figure. He struck a shrewd balance between stating his players' right to make an independent decision and promoting the sort of collective team spirit that persuaded favourites such as Flintoff and Hutchinson to catch the flight, holding a camp in Abu Dhabi, UAE on December 4. It's fantastic the guys want to go and rub shoulders with India at a time of need, said Pietersen. In 10 days that elapsed between England leaving Bhubaneswar on 28 November and flying back into Chennai on 8 December, opinions abounded in English cricket system. The prevailing view was that England cricket must remain on board in face of terrorism, which was now a fact of life in many parts of the world, including United Kingdom. Andrew Strauss, enhancing his reputation as the thinking man, alternative to Pietersen as England captain, was first player openly in favour of two resume, talking about a word of duty. It required a lot of agonizing before what passed for normal sporting life could resume, and the test tour was anything but normal. There were 3,000 police around Chepauk Stadium in Chennai, including 300 of the commandos who had been prominent in Mumbai hotel sieges. After much deliberation and discussion, England did fly back to play, and their choice was widely praised for the defiant message that normal life must proceed, however wicked the terrorist is. The first test rewarded a determination to proceed. England had just been beaten 5-0 in the one-day series, while India had sent Australia packing in a recent home test series. A match in Damram Stadium was virtually a fortress with commandos and top-level security officials everywhere. England won the toss and Kevin Pietersen chose to bat. The two teams lined up for 2 minutes silence to remember the tragic losses of Mumbai attack. England came out to bat and scored a total 316 runs with a magnificent century by Andrew Strauss and 50s from Alastair Cook and Matt Pryor. India came out to bat and was one time reeling on floor for just 137 for 6, but a 75-run partnership between Harbhajan Singh and MS Dhoni for 7th wicket gave India some support. But India was back for 241 runs and England gained a first inning lead of 75 runs. In second innings, Andrew Strauss' unwavering solidity brought him second 100 of the match and became first English player to score 2 centuries in a match in subcontinent. Middle order batsman Paul Collingwood grafted another century and England declared their innings for 311 for 9 and a lead of 386. The opposition seemed impregnable and England sensed the victory at declaration. In test match dominated by England, India colossal target of 387 to be chased down in fourth inning. Generally teams would go for the much safer option of a draw when confronted with a big target to be chased in the fourth innings. But India had an opener called Virendra Sehwag in their midst. Sehwag ripped apart the England bowling attack and scored a blazing 68 ball 83. It was a test match, but Sehwag scored his runs at a strike rate of 122.05. In fact, when Sehwag was dismissed, the scorecard read 117 for 1 after 23 overs. India had scored their runs at a rate of 5.09 runs per over, and the prospect of a win wasn't out of the equation. England were mugged by Virendra Sehwag on the fourth evening. India's batting got walked in with the scoreboard reading 141 for 2. As usual, when the master walked in, there was a sense of anticipation from the partisan crowd in Chennai. Could Tendulkar pull off something special at his favourite Damram Stadium? Tendulkar's first boundary was a shot that underlined his intent. To a ball that was just sort of a length from Andrew Flintoff, Tendulkar rocked back onto the back foot and cut the ball fiercely past the gully for a boundary. When Grim Swan pitched one on his pads, the master blaster brought out the paddle shot out of his vast repertoire and the ball raced away to the boundary. James Anderson then tried to outsmart the master by bowling a fast short delivery at close to 140 km per hour, but Tendulkar was up to the task. Tendulkar bent low, kept his eyes on the ball and executed the uppercut to perfection. He gave England 3 glimmers of hope. He pushed Swan firmly on to Alastair Cook's boot at silly point when 10. He might have been run out on 19 had Kevin Pietersen throw from mid-on hit the stumps and Steve Hamilton had a decent shout for LBW when he was 49. The umpire Daryl Harper supported by technology in his assertion it was a touch too high. The batting genius got to his 50 with a single 2 point. At that stage, India were still 126 runs away from victory. And it was important that Tendulkar stayed till the end. When Grim Swan tossed the ball up, Tendulkar got down on his knees and deposited the ball over mid-wicket for a boundary. India were inching closer to their target and their batting talisman was leading the way. Tendulkar got the nervous 90s with another paddle shot of Monty Panesar. He had built a match-turning partnership with Yuvraj Singh and the England bowlers were wilting under the pressure. The little master played the shot of the match when he was batting on 92. Panesar tossed the ball up, Tendulkar got onto the foot and threaded the ball between point and cover with supreme precision. For India, it could not have ended more perfectly. Tendulkar 99 and 4 to win. Gravesend, England debutant off spinner, sent down a delivery that in middle age he will deem a privilege. And as the ball scuttled away to the long leg boundary, a crowd of 30,000 screamed with delight. It was the first time Tendulkar had made 100 in a successful Indian run chase. Another ambition ticked off in a career that might have been assumed to have all ambition fulfilled. The Indian side had also overhauled a stiff target of 387 with 6 wickets to a spare. The master raised his arms up in joy, and the crowd at the M.H. Chidambaram Stadium in Chennai went berserk. After his 100, Tendulkar had the following to say: I dedicate this century to the people of Mumbai. Cricket cannot lessen whatever happened. I hope this 100 will give some amount of happiness to people. It was a 100 that will rank as one of the Tendulkar's best centuries in the longest format of the game. It was a draining innings, but one of complete authority, expressed not by flamboyant flourishes so much as concentration, repetition, and accuracy. It was a 100 that was scored on a fifth day track where the ball was turning and gripping. It was a 100 scored in pursuit of a gargantuan target of 387, and finally, it was a 100 that gave India something to cheer about in a challenging and trying times and implanted his heroic status in the nation's consciousness more firmly. Sachin Tendulkar's outrage over the terrorist's murder in his home city of Mumbai has been the most enduring image of the Chennai Test. The most resonant image had not been on field but that of Tendulkar looking drawn and suppressing his emotions as he perched his defiant words on an armchair for a TV advertisement of Royal Bank of Scotland, which played endlessly on Indian television, that felt more like an address to the nation by its statesman. He speaks of the need to pull together in bad times until the good time returns. And this vehement final sentence ingrains itself in the memory of all those who hear it. He ended it by vowing, I play for India now more than ever.
I know what it means to be part of a team. It means we support each other, look out for each other. We stand together through the bad times. And when the good times return, we are stronger than before. I play for India, now more than ever.
Tendulkar has always been the darling of the nation, but his century in Chennai is an extremely special one, not just because it allowed India to record their second highest successful run chase in tests, but more so because of the fact that it provided a healing effect amidst the chaos that the nation found itself in. Sometimes a cricket match becomes way more important than just winning or losing. Sometimes the deeds of a player on the cricket field act as a soothing effect and allows a nation to bask in its glory. The first test in Chennai was a classic in which England, despite defeat, could take pride. This time there really was inestimable value in turning up, in taking part. England played one of the most politically significant tests in history. The people of Chennai, after initial uncertainty, had come out in force despite heavy security, with about 95,000 spectators watching a game that proved Test cricket still has a future in India. India, against all expectations, stole the game from England's grasp by successfully chasing 387. England, who had sensed victory in this emotionally charged test, ultimately bowed to Tendulkar's unyielding determination to soothe her nation's pain.